So as you know, Magneto's Down TAC Infinite is one of, if not the easiest TAC infinites in the game. The hardest part about Magneto's TAC Infinite is finding a consistent initiator. The easiest initiator for Magneto's Down TAC is to immediately dash down forward upon tagging in, fly, and then hit them with a normal and cancel with unfly. Afterwards, if you were above the minimum flight height when you did the unfly cancel, you will retain the TAC state when you re-jump. What most people don't know is that you can replicate this initiator in all TAC directions and almost anywhere on the screen. I find that this immediate flight variation of the TAC Infinite to have the most consistent initiator because you do not need to know where Magneto is. All you have to pay attention to is at what height the opponent was at when you initiated the TAC. If you immediately go into flight when Magneto tags in and you dash down and whiff a button, you will recover fast enough to have sufficient time to move into the correct position to get the same setup as a down TAC. You may think that this is difficult because you can't see where Magneto is, but you don't actually need to know where Magneto is to move into the correct position. Your setup will depend on what height the opponent was at and what direction you initiated the TAC. Usually you will initiate a TAC after doing launch H or launch MMH. These strings will generally put the opponent at a consistent height. So for the sake of simplicity, I will refer to these heights as H height or MMH height. For the first setup, if Magneto comes out lower than 800 units high, do fly, air dash down forward with L and hold down forward. You should now be at the lowest possible flight height. You have to be slightly higher than that to retain the TAC state. So just before you hit the opponent with an air L, hold up forward for a few frames. It doesn't have to be precise. The slightest amount of movement upwards will put you high enough to retain the TAC state after the unfly cancel. For the second setup, if Magneto comes out between 800 and 900 units high, do fly, air dash down forward with L, and hold down forward. Then while still holding down forward, time an air L. Holding down forward will automatically put you in the correct height required. For the third setup, if Magneto comes out between 900 and 1000 units high, do the same thing as the first setup, but instead of whiffing L, whiff M. For the fourth setup, if Magneto comes out between 1000 and 1100 units high, do the same thing as the second setup, but instead of whiffing L, whiff M. To further elaborate, if you for example launch your opponent while they are at, say, normal jump height, then hit H and TAC, the opponent will be higher than expected. Therefore, Magneto will tag in higher than expected. For instance, if you do launch H side TAC, you're expecting Magneto to come out lower than 800 units high. But if you launched a jumping opponent, this may now put them at a height that will have Magneto tag in at the 800 to 900 units range. So you will use the second setup that I showed you, which fits the 800 to 900 units range. With the immediate flight variation, you can also land the infinite if you are greater than 1100 units high. You are likely only able to reach this height through a double TAC, and it isn't consistent either, so you would probably never go for this.
Team aerial combo. Team aerial combo. Level 1. Level 1. First attack. Air combo. Weakness. Level 1. First attack. Air combo. Your own weakness. Level 1. Level 1. Air combo. Team aerial combo. Level 1. Level 2. Fight! First attack.
Know your own weakness.
Level 1. Level 1.